Weird science
is the revolution.
Wonder Woman, number 4. It's a big number 4, too. It's written by Tom King, art by, I don't either, Daniel Sampere, Timon Moret, and Clayton Coles. And I would like to say that we're going to really push forward with this whole Amazons versus the U.S., World War.
The sovereigns involved, all that good stuff, right? Really escalate things.
Is it me? Or is Tom King, he's like sitting there and he's writing. He's like, okay, I'm going to work this out. I got this. And then he gets word. The phone rings. What? Amazon's Attack is doing that shit? All right, I can fucking do whatever I want now. And he slams the thing down. He's like, all right, we're just going to have a deal where Wonder Woman hangs out with the cancer kid.
I'm telling you, there's so much more stakes somehow in Amazon's Attack than this, and it's ridiculous.
I know. And I get it. I get what this issue, I get what Tom King's doing. This is a Tom King thing. What he's doing, I don't think anybody needs me to tell him, but I will, Eric. Okay. While the U.S. and the Sovereign plan their attack, plan to defame Wonder Woman, plan to make her the scourge of the earth, and that they're going to go.
Because they already wanted to do this, but now they're going to have to up the ante because it didn't work the first time. There's more planning.
We're getting ready for war. So what's Wonder Woman doing? She's being Wonder Woman. She goes to see a kid who's dying of what seems cancer and spend the day with them. That's fine. But it's in the lay of the land here where you have a story that we're at the 4th issue and it really doesn't feel like it's really started yet. You have a couple things going. You just want to see what's happening. And you realize in this, in my mind, Tom King really doesn't have a lot for Wonder Woman to do in this overall story. So he has to come up with something for her to do. He does a good job of showing the compassion, like you said, but you kind of need more, especially with this big story going on. Now, you start off with a lot of talking heads. We've seen this. We saw it when you had the first initial
Hey, everybody.
Amazon
I'm Eric
killing
Shane for
people.
WKSP. Can you believe that a soldier killed himself and he had a suicide note that said that Wonder Woman took his masculinity when she beat him in battle previously, and that's why he killed himself? Down with the Amazons, everybody. Down with the Amazons, because it's just so silly that this is on all the news reports. And I'm telling you, when we had it in the previous issue, it's just it makes everything so much more goofier than it needs to be when everything relies on the loss of masculinity because a woman did this. It goes back to the Coonrads doing freaking Dr. Psycho, calling people soy boys and like, we got to take these women down a peg because
they got the milk.
Because like, it's just such a weird play of like, you have actual things going on. Why make it goofy?
And it's weird. And what you have here, and I was more offended last issue. You just said, well, this is what the guy did. He was being manipulated. Okay. But when we get to this and wherever, and I know it's comics, but the idea, it's kind of a, an awful thing to think about anyway. It's suicide. But you end up where, when would they be doing this at any point where you have, now we had the play at one point of people, well, the Sovereign doesn't seem to be manipulating people the way and fully as we thought. But Tom King thinks that people are going to then announce a suicide note and that, maybe look into maybe some mental health issues with this guy. Like, don't just go surface level of this guy killed himself. He said that his masculinity was gone. Boom, 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 Wonder Woman bad. There's more to this, and there's more mental health ideas with it, especially with
I'm guessing
soldiers.
It's going to the idea with the Sovereign being in control of politics, the media, everything in charge of all of that so they can push the propaganda machine where they want it to go.
It doesn't feel like the Sovereign is this big. The Sovereign seems to just be controlling, say, the president and things we've never really seen. Like, if it's the case, that's fine, but we haven't really, it's kind of the Deus Machina that we don't know because we haven't seen. I would have loved to have seen one of these people. Okay, they're getting ready for their report, and you see them backstage. And like, there's no way I'm going to report on this. This is bullshit. I'm going to talk about the idea that we should look into this. And then all of a sudden she gets on and like, this guy did, like, you could see she was being controlled. I think that he's playing up the idea that most people are pieces of shit and would do this anyway. But when we move on from that to then Wonder Woman going and visiting this kid, Jack. And he goes there and the parents are there. And first off, Wonder Woman should know right away, you might not want to be around a family at this point.
I don't even know how she got word that like there's a Make-A-Wish situation going on during this whole thing.
They wished upon a star. But they could be dropping a bomb on this. Who knows what could happen? I mean, this is getting to the point where they're about to declare war on Wonder Woman and the Amazons, and she's visiting the set, not disguised. I mean, she's just there as Wonder Woman. Yeah, she showed up in the invisible jet, but still. And then you get you get a weird play. When you read this multiple times, you realize like the dad is really kind of upset at the beginning of like, yeah, I didn't really like this wish. I kind of wish he wished for something else, but this is what he wants. So, he's dying. I'll let him. It's weird. This whole play it just feels weird. And also it feels like Tom King is trying to get people behind him with this book to prove that he knows Wonder Woman through this. There's a lot of things that go through my mind. But by the end, I was kind of bored. I hate to say it. It sounds like an awful thing. I like some of the parts where they end up on Themyscira and you have Jack and her, but...
You're bored and stuff like that. And I've got a lot of flack before when Superman was flying cancer kids to the moon in a bus and shit like that, because it just felt like a weird fill-in like issue to make people say like, oh, look at the nice thing that we're doing here, when it just feels like such a reach to like get applause for some reason when you do stuff like this. And I'm fine with Wonder Woman, visiting a cancer kid Jack, because Jack is like, the number one fan of Wonder Woman. Like, even the idea when he says Wonder Woman, like, am I supposed to like baseball, Batman, Superman? Because the other boys like that, but I like you. So you have this idea, and I'm like, I like Wonder Woman doing this. I don't necessarily like Wonder Woman doing this at this point in time during almost World War III against the Amazons, but I think it actually becomes worse when all Jack wants to do is go to Themyscira because it's a paradise island, and she goes against all of the tradition and everything that Themyscira is by letting a boy on the island. And the thing is, I swear to God, by the end of this, it almost felt, because the Amazons backed down for I don't know what reason, but they decided, it almost seemed like the Amazons were going to go against Wonder Woman with the rest of the world, because she's breaking all of the rules right now for no reason in this issue. It's
so crazy. In that, I actually went because I'm like, wait a second, because I remembered at one point, I don't know, Wonder Woman seems to be doing like push-up contests, right? And then I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, maybe he didn't touch the ground. Like on a Kanga. But no, he touched the ground. I thought that maybe because you see this place, that would have been neat. That would have been.
You give me a caveat where he has some kind of hoverboard that he has to stay on to go throughout this whole thing. Yes, but she's like, look, I don't care about you sisters and your rules and stuff like that, because Jack wanted to come here and Jack gets what Jack wants. And I'm like, why are you doing this to Wonder Woman and the rest of the Amazons at this point in time?
And it's the weird play that Tom King wants to play that, well, she'll even throw away tradition for just, I mean, it is that play of a goddess almost, playing, like taking a whole day while people are preparing work to just make sure this kid has a good day. And then you go too far. Like you said, all of a sudden it's like, we can't let you on the island. That's a boy. No, he's going to go. Jack, let the boy walk. And then they end up, and then I'm thinking, you're getting a little too rambunctious to this kid. This kid looked like he was having some problems. And he's just going to town all over, but it is a nice day for him. He gets to do a lot of things.
When we have the Amazons talking like, oh, you want the sick boy to come here. Well, that's noble, but unfortunately, sacred laws yield nothing to mere nobility, as your mother has often taught. And it's like, well, you know what she also taught? That a punch in the face makes people change their minds, and that's what I'm going to do to you if you don't let me pass, because I beat all of the Amazons when I became the champion and went to Man's World. I could do that same shit to you.
There's two things in that actually kind of, it's not bad, but it's the idea where I said to you, at points they're talking about Hippolyta like she just around the corner and she's just hanging. She's dead. And the idea
Look, she just died, but she used to teach stuff.
Then the idea, too, is usually what you play is that most of these, they would know everything that Diana did because she kind of ended up showing up and they were there. So her saying that, it just ends up feeling like that's more Tom King talking through Wonder Woman just to impress people than an actual dialogue that I think works for what the situation was. I mean, if you really want to do this, it's fine, but have them say, if you're going to do it, just go full out where the sisters come out, the Amazonians, and like, what do you think you're doing? Oh, this is Jack, Okay, well, we'll let him in. And I know that would drive you nuts, but it would have been nice to see.
Well, even when Philippa finds out about it, who's like the queen, regent queen right now that Nubia's gone and Hippolyta's dead and stuff like that. She's like, well, nobody can tell Diana what to do, so whatever. We can rule over the island. We can rule over Amazon, but nobody can rule over Diana. I'm like, come on, guys. She is your sister. She has followed the rules. This entire thing is so sacred. The idea, and like, no, we're throwing it away because we want to tell a cancer kid story.
Yeah, it's really odd, just the way the Amazonians think. And I think Philippa, she's just like, I just want to sit on the throne for a bit. I don't get this opportunity a lot, so she's there.
Hey, it's good to see you, Artemis. We haven't seen you around lately, so good thing you're here.
I'm glad Artemis, peeked in. So when you have that, though, you even get...
Guess she's not doing Bana Migdal stuff anymore, but whatever.
If anybody had read and I'm sure a lot of people listening did read the Tom King Batman run, you had that Super Friends arc where a lot of people go on and on about the double date, but you also had the play where Batman and Wonder Woman ended up with the Gentleman. They ended up...
The Gentleman.
When that started off, Wonder Woman showed up just sounding completely like Drago in freaking Rocky 4. And
she sounds like those Amazonians in Futurama with the snoo.
Okay, yeah, so in this where it almost gets there is, now that I am a woman grown, what are you doing? Like, I don't like the way the dialogue flows with Wonder Woman here. And I will also tell you one thing that kind of got me, because, yeah, there's some feel. And I think Tom King wants to play this a little accurately the way he's doing it, where Diana doesn't seem very happy to be doing a lot of this stuff at first. Even when Jack says, I want to go to Paradise Island, she's like, really? You want to go there? Like,
yeah,
really? Yeah, that'd be great. And she's like, sigh. Yeah, of course. Even where this kid who doesn't know Wonder Woman senses that she is kind of a little upset about it. And he's like, it's okay. We don't have to do that. I was just talking like nonsense.
It almost feels like the idea, like, seeing your father every other week, and it's like, hey, what do you want to do this week, Chip? Like, I want to go to the movies. Well, Daddy's a little, light this week, so how about we go home and watch a video on TV?
Right. Yeah, really. Or it reminds me of where, there's athletes, they do things for certain reasons. Some people, good, bad, whatever. But you end up like having old Jimmy Boy here, and I'm on the Penguins, and I have to go, and I'm going to stay with this kid this day, and the kid wants to do shit that I don't want to. I'm just saying, like, he's like, oh, man, Mr. Werner, can we go do this? I'm like, really? You really want to do that? Like, I'd be such a jerk. But you have that, where they'd be like, that's how it plays out. It plays out like and it's right away. They just blast off, and hey, where do you want to go? And she starts naming things. It's almost like the idea of giving gifts to somebody that you want. Like, you give Jess a transfer because she's like, where do you want to go? Barcelona?
It's your favorite Friday the 13th Part 7.
Yeah, exactly. So in my mind, she's like, I'd really like to go to Barcelona, Beijing, or Sao Paulo. She's like, you want to go there? Right? You want to? No, I thought we go to Paradise Island. Whatevs. And then she turns it around. But I do love that. I'm telling you, the art in this is great throughout. I love when they get in that invisible jet and you kind of see everything through that. But then when they close it, that is so cool. I thought that was really, really neat. But even then, he's struggling to get in, and Diana's not. She just jumps in and doesn't even help him. She's such a jerk.
It is cool in the background of all this, because you do have the Sovereign going to the president and making him kiss the ring for pretty much saying to the president, you're going to do whatever I say because I'm the Sovereign and you work for me. Like, all presidents have worked for me and my family since the beginning of the Americas. And in the background, too, beyond that, you have Amanda Waller with Sarge Steele talking about the idea that we have to put
Amanda Waller in this.
The new Suicide Squad to take on Wonder Woman. And even the people that she's like hinting at here is like, you have to activate them and find them yourself. The big one, the Charmer, the Doctor, the Half-God, the Bird, and the Triangle Idiot. I'm like, look, you're saying some stuff here. I don't know who they are off the top of my head with these descriptions, but I look forward to it.
You want me to give you? Big one.
I want you to give me.
The big one, Giganna, right?
Okay.
That makes sense. The Doctor, Dr. Psycho. I think it's Dr. Psycho.
But it'll be better. Going to be like Dr. Polaris or something.
I'll get you. Triangle's Angle Man. He's an idiot.
Right? See, the thing is, I was going to say Angle Man, but for some reason I didn't want to go with that with just triangles.
I think it's Angle Man.
Okay, makes sense.
Bird is Silver Swan.
Okay,
and,
I like that too.
Half-God. This is the best one. You'll love it, Grail. And then you'll end up with the Charmer.
The Charmer.
I don't know. The Charmer feels like it could be Maxwell Lord, but I don't know, because he kind of charms the pants off. You did to me in that alley. Okay, I don't know if you know about that, but that's the only one that I don't know, that it might be the Charmer. But we'll have to see. And then I'm thinking, like, could that be like Steve Trevor mind controlled? I don't know, but I love where Amanda Waller.
I'm thinking it's like Eros.
Maybe. That's the only one that I was going through.
They call Grail the Half-God, so I think they would just call him. Like, the thing is, what happened to Eros after Yara Flor? Because they cut his hand off, or did they do something? Like, for some reason, I can sit here, I'm like, did they make him not a god anymore? But I don't think that's the case. I'm just thinking of, like, projecting with the idea of the Charmer.
Eros shows up as the Charmer, and he's like, hey, Steel, get me one of them hands you have, because I love where Amanda Waller's like, Sarge, get your damn hand on, like, it freaks her out. This could be you.
Can I stop looking at that nub, please?
And like, come on now. Get that hand on, let's go. What do you think, you're freaking in The Walking Dead here? Let's go. Let's roll. I like that. I like where Amanda Waller...
Thing is, when I'm reading this, too, I'm putting together the idea of a Suicide Squad, but what we're really getting is like a Wonder Woman, like Villainy Inc.
It's a Revenge Squad, a Villainy Inc. That's what it feels like. And from where we went with the whole deal with the Clone-Rads, goofy as shit.
That's so weird, too, because I was thinking to myself, too, because what she's talking about, Sarge Steele, I'm just used to Amanda Waller at this point, because even the idea of her putting together Dreamer for a new Suicide Squad, I just thought we were continuing the idea of doing that, but in the Wonder Woman book. But no, doing a Villainy Inc. as well, that could be really cool.
I think that's cool, and I like this Amanda Waller. I think that of all the characters in this issue, I think that Tom King in this little bit writes her so well because she's so annoyed. But there's Sarge Steele who, like, he's kind of like that weird lackey, but he's pretty badass, but he annoys her. And so she has to deal with him, and I think it plays out really well. But I do also like with the doctor. I like how also that she knows
which doctors, at least three.
Yeah, and she's just screwing with them and us, but says, "Oh, which doctor?" There's at least
want
three.
Dr. Poison, Dr. Psycho, you want a Dr. Cyber? I don't know.
And so when she says, it's not a joke, it'll turn your mind inside out.
Psycho.
It's Dr. Psycho. So
I want
Dr.
I read
Poison.
This part, but when I read the initial descriptions of who these people were, for some reason, I'm just thinking of a Suicide Squad. Like, you know what, Dr. Polaris, like, he was on that original Suicide Squad they tried to do in the New 52. Like, you know, they were coming back to go after Amanda Waller. Like, he'd be so cool in the Suicide Squad. I wish we could see him, but it's not the Suicide Squad, it's Ability Inc.
But if these are, accurate with what I'm saying, we always like Giganna, but Grail, I want to see Grail. I love Grail. I miss Grail. Yeah, so I'll have that
and
going.
And then even with the one panel we see here where this cheetah hanging out with an actual cheetah at one point, listen to the radio. I thought she was going to be a part of it somehow, and I just missed out what the description.
She might just be pissed or...
Again, last time we saw her, she was a part of the new branded Checkmate, so she was a good guy. So maybe Cheetah's going to work hand in hand with Wonder Woman to help, with the situation.
And when you play this all, you do have Steve Trevor. He's there with his guys, and they're pissed off because Steve Trevor...
What'd you do? Cut your dick off, Steve Trevor?
I'm telling you, it's a lot of wingdings. I told you that I'm now going to, for now on, play wingdings as Mad Libs. And when I was a kid,
everything's butt cheeks.
Everything was butt cheeks for me. So when you have it, it's like, butt cheeks you! And he punches the guy, and he's like, what, Wonder Woman, she cut off your butt cheeks, you butt cheeks. Oh, man, shut your butt cheeks teeth. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. It made me giggle, but he ends up getting thrown in after he yells once again, butt cheeks you, which obviously is where I ended up getting my master's back in the day. When you end up where he gets thrown in jail, I'm thinking, okay, that puts him aside. Usually jails can withstand a lot of craziness, too, and I think that he might be able to...
And also you could break out of him.
And go off and maybe team up with Edda and Cheetah and maybe, who else would be out there with that. I don't know how many of the characters that we saw before in that goofy whole Clune Red deal. That's what I'm thinking of, is Ziggy. It'd be weird, but I'd be actually happy to see him and see what Tom King can do with him. Again, this issue isn't necessarily bad. It's the timing of it and just the play where the main story really is what's going on with the Sovereign and the President, and we're kissing rings, we're fixing speeches, and then by the end you get the speech, and the speech is basically that Wonder Woman's pretty bad.
Public enemy number one.
Clear and present danger. Oh no, he's about to, okay, we know that. This is not a shocker. It's not anything, and you really didn't go anywhere with the story in this, but you got some nice moments with Wonder Woman and this Jack kid. It felt like an annual.
The day is over, right, for Jack. The one day spent with Wonder Woman. I don't know the right way to say this, and I'm really sorry if it comes off or something, but you'd make a great mom, Wonder Woman. I mean, they'd be a lucky kid. Oh, Jack, can you imagine me a mother in this world? Does any child deserve that fate? And in the background of this all, you have the character Trinity, supposedly the daughter of Wonder Woman, hearing all of this from the Sovereign. So it's a funny little play right there. But even when you have that, where I wanted to see more of the idea of, Trinity and the Sovereign in jail healing the story, because when we have these backups, it was nice in the previous issue where it's like babysitter John Kent and Damian Wayne taking care of a little girl Trinity who likes to dress up as Robin, be a little rambunctious little girl, and I love that. And now she's a bit older and this newest backup. It's like in the Fortress of Solitude. And it's so weird where it's like Damien's off doing stuff. John's on monitor duty.
Damien's not in this. Dame is. I got
Dame.
so annoyed.
I'm not calling him Dame. I'm not doing
it. As a joke earlier when we started, I was just out of the blue going to call you Air and see if you got it. I'm like, what up, Air? What's up, Air?
For some reason,
saying it.
It almost feels like a little Trinity here. Like, this is something she's done because they almost recognize when she's missing in the Force of Stud, she's off with the Black Mercy. Like, she's getting
Black
trapped
Mercy drug addict is what she is,
what
right?
It almost felt like in this little bit. Like, it's like, oh my God, we gotta go check. And they don't have the gauntlets to take it off. And it's actually up to her to realize that this is a dream world that she's living in when, John and Damian of this, of the mind world aren't acting the way they are, where the psychic link is broken. They're able to pull this thing off. And even the idea where they play the idea, it's like, Damian, you're going to have to grab, because Black Mercy, they thrive off of hope and all this, and you're a miserable sad sack, so I'm like, don't do that. Don't say this stuff.
We've seen Batman with it at points. Planet Mercy, or whatever the hell that was. But Yeah, you can't say that a Black Mercy wouldn't affect Damian. He's not
Doesn't
that
make any
bad
sense
a
to me.
kid, and he does have hopes and dreams, just like the rest of us.
It's going to
Not
latch
me.
onto your psychic energy and put you in Batman 666, and you're going to love that shit.
No, or he's just going to dream of killing John like 8,000 ways, just like
And I know that
Tom
John
King
is
did
his
in
buddy.
Up and Away with Lois, right? He
I
did that.
know that John is his buddy and stuff like that. You talk a certain way with your friends and buddies and stuff, but like, you try to act hard sometimes. It's like, be a kind of a jerk and stuff. But for some reason, I don't like this future of Tom King's where Damian has regressed back to his jerky-ass attitude that has no growth.
I'll tell you what happened here, and I end up talking to a lot of people. You could call it arguing about the Super Sons book. And I ended up where when I talk to people and they're like, it was all great and we always say, hey, we like the characters. We like that deal.
The concept.
So the last time this came up, and it does a lot, John Wayne, well, I end up going back and I'm just looking at I'm looking at reviews, right? And I see these reviews going, and I'm doing some, and then you were and our thing that we kept saying was this book can be great if they would stop bickering, if they could just stop bickering, and then eventually, and I'm telling you, it was late in that they did, and we started liking it a little more. This is back to day one. Super Sons. Yeah. It shouldn't be. This should be where they are really good friends. They rely on
older,
each other.
Wiser, don't have to deal with their adolescent aggression.
Yeah, and so what Tom King is doing here, he's giving us an older John and Damian, but giving us day one Super Sons, and it doesn't work for me. And I want more Trinity. I don't mind having a Black Mercy for a character we don't know really. That's not a bad idea because we get to see what she would dream about and what she would want.
She's Wonder Woman.
I thought maybe you'd have her as a younger, and she's just like, oh, because any young girl or boy is like, I want to grow up, and it'd be kind of fun that way. But really, this is more of a John and Damian story, and it doesn't play out well because of how he's portraying them with this bickering. So by the end, I'm like, I just kind of wanted more of Trinity. I'm already upset because she's already aging to a point where
Agreed.
I think we're losing out on
past
some
the cute
things.
Factor.
Yeah, and we have this backup, and we talk about we're going to have Sinister Sons coming. Well, I really want to see a young Trinity in something. I mean, if we're going to pass it by in these backups, I need it somewhere else, and it's a shame. Yeah, because really what she's dreaming of is she wants to be Wonder Woman. So with that, she's a dirty drug addict. She's a dirty Black Mercy drug addict.
It just seems like there's something, oh my God, who left the Black Mercy room unlocked? Because Trinity's obviously going there to go get for her new fix.
Exactly. It's like, I'm
telling you, it's a little bit exaggerated how I'm talking about it, but for some reason, that's how I felt when reading it because of it.
I thought it was basically, it's just the opposite, or the same actually, if somebody's like, oh man, where's Eric? Oh God, the heroin. And you start running for him. He's like, oh God, like, you grab the Narcan. I got this. There you are. You're just drooling.
You got to stop leaving the heroin out.
Leave them there. That's the problem. I don't know why it's the Black Mercy. It's like, isn't the black tar heroin just Black Mercy? Because when I take it, Eric, I'm in La La Land as well. That's what it, like. Also, you're thinking of the idea of why would she have to do this all the time? They make it seem like they can't keep her away from this shit. And this is just the time that, oh God, the parents are gone. So we have to, deal with shit ourselves. But I don't know. It's a funny concept, I think, on paper. It played off really odd. And also, that's how I felt about the whole issue. There's some things that work. There's some things that would have worked better in a different setting or a different time frame of the deal. But overall, we're still not doing much. And it's a craziness. Amazon's attack is actually where this whole war is. That's the place to be. And I don't think many people are reading that but us. So it's kind of a weird deal, but what would you give this?
I think the art is great throughout, and the story shines in the parts that don't feature Wonder Woman. Even though the parts with Wonder Woman, it's a little bit over the top with how it wants to present Wonder Woman just being compassionate to a fault where, Kansas Kid wants to step on Paradise Island, I'm going to fight any Amazon that says any different. It's a weird aside for what this story wants to do, but I can see the applause that Tom King will want to get from this type of issue, but that does nothing for me. I think the backup's kind of useless at this point in time, even because I want to know more about Trinity, and it's just a weird story that makes her come off as a drug addict to me with Black Mercy. But I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because the compassion's there for the people who want it. There's part of the story dealing with the Sovereigns there and how the world's reacted to Wonder Woman, so you have that as well. It's just not told very well, and it feels like a weird aside during this whole thing where we're only 4 issues in.
I'm a 5.5. I could even be a 6. It's just, here's the thing, and maybe it's kind of a jaded thing. Maybe it's kind of like that play of when I see this, you said it already, but it feels like you can tell that this is an issue where Tom King wants to get applauded for. You have some issues like this that don't feel that way. This felt that way, I think, because it's so out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere for what's going on, yeah.
Hey, all you weirdos, if you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon, where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird Science
is the revolution.